Okay, this is one of my battery packs from my Begode Master V4. It is a 600 watt, 67 volt battery pack with 50S cells. The problem I have is it developed a little bit of moisture. It went for unscheduled trip into some water, and although the battery box itself didn't have any water in it, it's possible that some water wicked through this and into the battery pack. You can see a little bit of corrosion. Let's see if this will focus. Corrosion on one of the terminals here. So I think it may have just a little wicked down to the bottom. Now, I don't even think it's enough to really worry about, but I'd rather not find out the hard way later. So I'm going to open the pack up. So this is my Begode battery surgery video. Okay, it's out of its wrapping. It's a double wrapping. It goes around this way with shrink wrap, and then it goes like in a sock this way with shrink wrap. And so I cut it open. I don't think I'm going to be able to reuse it, but definitely going to take these labels and this padding and transpose it onto the new shrink wrap that I have here. The problem that I have was that you can see a little bit of this corrosion here, and a little bit of rust there. Down here, I think these cells are fine. They're still reading properly, and they're consistent with the other batteries, so I don't think that there's any damage to the cells themselves. This is going to go into a bag of desiccant, which will pull the moisture out of it, whatever moisture is left, and that should be good to go. This is the Begode Master battery board. The battery is now dried out. I put it in a bag of desiccant, and it's pretty amazing how much moisture got pulled out of it. But right now the fish paper's dry. There's no wetness on the cells. They all look fine. Some discoloring there. I don't think that's going to affect anything because the voltage hasn't changed. And so what I'm now going to do is I'm going to use this stuff. Kills rust and corrosion. It really does. It's a great kind of lubricant and rust remover. And I'm going to use it on some of these leads that have developed a little bit of corrosion, like this one right here. See that? After that, I have my shrink wrap that I got from Amazon. I'm going to shrink wrap the whole thing, and I'm going to try to save these stickers because they look cool and they're pretty, and I want to maintain the information on the battery. And I'm going to pull this part off and put it back on the new shrink wrap, and that should be good to go. This other battery here also had some moisture. It was up in this little corner here and down at the bottom, but instead of taking the whole thing off, I just poked 2 holes, and I used a soldering iron, something hot, so you know it didn't split the plastic. It would melt it, so it wouldn't, the cut wouldn't spread. But then I stuck this in front of a box fan for a couple days, and it looks like enough air got pushed through there and pulled the moisture out. So this one doesn't have, I mean, it has a small, teeny tiny corrosion spot I saw on one of the leads, but it was so minimal that I didn't think it was worth completely opening up this one. Yeah, just down in this little corner. I mean, that's not worth opening the whole thing up for, because it's obviously a lot drier in there now. So this one also had a little bit of moisture. This one had a lot more. I'm glad I opened this one up, But I think if you notice if you have the same problem, you might want to start with doing this method first. You know, poke a couple holes. You could even poke them at the top to get the air to flow through, although these are tightly wrapped, so I don't know how much airflow goes through the whole thing. But as you can see in the bottom here, you know, there's enough room for air to move around. And so as long as if you have the moisture at the bottom, I think this method works just fine. If it's a little more penetrated, you're gonna have to take the whole thing apart. And to apply this stuff, all I'm using is an old toothbrush and scrubbing it on there. I'm also using a Q-tip and just putting it on there. The ones that don't have any corrosion, just gonna layer it on there a little bit. Yeah, it's gonna discolor the paper, but you know, we're trying to protect the leads themselves. And then on the top, we're just gonna do this whole area. I'm just going to leave a little film of it, so it acts like a conformal coating, and it should keep any rust off. Now, there is, as you can see, there's some conformal coating on here already. I don't know if you can see it from the angle of the camera, but these electronics are already covered with conformal coating, so we don't have to go crazy. We just have to put a little bit on there. And if it already has conformal coating, what I'm going to do is just wipe off this top layer of the corrosion X, so that way it doesn't. I don't think it interacts with the conformal coating, but I'm not going to leave it on to find out. So I'm just going to make sure that I'm coating the metal parts. There we go, and then dab off any excess and wrap it up. Okay, we've got it in the wrap now, the shrink wrap. What I did was I cut it a little extra longer, and then I cut 1/2 and folded it in, so you can see the fold in, so that way it's like it was before, where it had a closed bottom, you know, because they had a double wrap, but their double wrap, one went this way around and the other one went like this particular sleeve of shrink wrap. So I did the same over here. It's a little bit messy, but cut it in half, folded the lip in, had to make a little cut for the wires. And now I'm gonna heat it up and hopefully it shrink wraps nice. I'll probably do a double shrink wrap and then it'll be good to go. All right, the heat gun on low, pretty hot. Let's see what happens. Oh yeah, that's cool. Do the same over here. Overall, this came out pretty good. I think what I would do different is fold up the bottom so I don't end up with these little tabs here, but I'm gonna silicone up this area so it should be watertight at the bottom. The top, however, the gap was too big because I had to split the flap so that way I get the wires in. So I'm gonna see if I can shimmy another piece of plastic over that or around that. And ultimately, I'm just going to do one more wrap, so it's double wrapped like it was last time, and then silicone the ends. So it should be good as the original. Just to keep you updated on the progress, I cut this label off and I taped it on to the bottom. I'm using this high temp masking tape. This is the tape they use to tape the batteries together. So I just stuck it right there so it gets wrapped in and sealed, so we still have the reference of, you know, what it is and what kind of battery. I put an extra flap. I cut I cut a piece like this and then opened it up, and I had 2 flaps, and I stuck 1 flap on here, 1 flap on the top, and folded it over like this so it goes over and around. So that way, you know, I'm trying to double seal this up before I close it up with this second layer, and then the silicone's going to go on the ends just like they did in the original build. And that should, you know, that should be keeping nice and waterproof just like it was before. This particular pad is just glued on, and so I'm gonna, you know, slowly take this off, and then I have this spray adhesive that I'm gonna spray on the bottom of this and stick it on the back side. So it's almost gonna look like it was from the factory. And the silicone, I just wanted to give you a picture of silicone using this clear adhesive, the 150 manufacturer, what's it called here? Permadex. I looked at all electrical silicone. This is just as good. It's rated up to 400 degrees, which is, your battery's getting that hot, you're in trouble anyway. And it's waterproof and an adhesive. So, and it's meant for automotive and electronics. So this stuff is cheap. It's like $5-6. You can find it in hardware stores. You can find it on Amazon. So I'll put a link in the description. This is the pad from the old battery. I'm going to spray this multi-purpose adhesive on it. Spray adhesive, you don't need this one in particular. There's multiple brands, multiple strengths. Just, you know, minimal strength. Spray it down, slap it on the battery. Do it outside or in a well-ventilated area. This is where the pad stuck on. I was a little bit off, but you can't tell. Important part is right there. So, just like the original.